Hello and welcome back to the FSF podcast. I am Tim. I am your host. And you may have noticed that I am not in my normal space. That's because it's cold and Michigan hates me. So I decided to stay in the house where it's warm. So I am in a temporary nerdatorium. It's just not very nerdy behind me. It's a storage room, basically. So yeah. So anyway, our guest today in this make-believe nerdatorium is an accomplished actor, an operatically trained singer. We're going to come back to that because that's kind of an important detail, and also has done some modeling work. Now, recently she secured a role in the remake of the Roger Corman classic Deathstalker, which is a pretty cool movie from the 80s. If you're not familiar with it, go back and check that out. But you're also going to want to make sure you get the new version that has our guest from today, because yeah. Anyway, she also performs the song, which is the closing credits with Jonah Nimoy, Spock's grandson. That's a whole thing. And that song is called Walking Alone, and it is freaking awesome. You guys need to check that out. And to be honest, our guest has a fantastic voice. That alone should be enough for you to follow her music, follow everything else she's doing. You've seen our guest in movies like Hell Hath No Fury, Doom, Annihilation, and Cold Meat. Now, that's just to name a couple of the projects that she's been on. And, of course, the most recent movie, Deathstalker, which is we're going to be talking about here shortly. Now, tonight we're going to discuss with her origin story, the evolution of growing into modeling, acting, and singing as a complete package entertainer, and a few other things we're going to throw her way just to see if we can make her smile. We'll see how that all goes. Anyway, please help me in welcoming Nina Bergman to the FSF podcast. Welcome to the show, Nina.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. When your agent reached out to me and sent me, I was like, like a couple nights before that, I sat down. I didn't get a chance to finish it, but I started watching Hell Hath No Fury, and I'm like, well, this is really kind of interesting. I just started watching this movie, and now here you are presenting me with somebody who was in that movie. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Look at that.
Yeah. What is it? Can't think of the name where things line up the way they should.
Synchronicity.
Maybe. Yes. It was
Nothing
a bit of synchronicity.
Everything happens for a reason, right? I mean, there's no
there you go.
accidents, right?
Exactly. So there you go. So yeah. So when Wendy sent that over to me, I was like, all right, well, cool. This is a sign that this is somebody I'm supposed to be talking to. So there we go. I'm going to have her on the show. So one of the first questions, though, Nina, that I like to ask every guest that's ever been on the show, and because the reason I do this, I like to know what makes people tick. Why do you do the things that you do? What makes you want to be the person you are? Plus, I'm a massive nerd, and nerds love a good origin story. So in the origin of Nina Bergman, what made you say, you know what, I want to be an entertainer? Not necessarily just an actor or a singer or a model, but I want to be an entertainer.
It's not something I chose. I knew since I was 4 years old what I wanted to do. And to be completely honest, I don't have any other talents. I can't cook. I worked as a waiter for half a day in New York City. I got fired. And what else? I'm not good at anything else. Well, I'm a nerd in my own right, in the sense I'm not good at anything else.
Well,
so
that's a pretty fast flame out to get fired in half a day.
Yeah. I mean, I tried, and I just feel like, when I first started when I was younger, it was like a lot of fun, and I did it because I loved it, and I pursued it, and I wanted to be the best at it, and I wanted to learn it like a craft. And I went to school, and I just learned fantasy and living in other worlds and just disappearing, whether it was in music or in dance or in singing or in acting, or just like to disappear into anyone but myself, right? My daily routine. And then as I got into the business, I was like, oh my God, let me get out, because I'm not a big fan of the business, but I love the arts. So if I had other talents, I would probably be doing those, because it's a rough business.
That's actually a pretty common sentiment, actually, with some of the artists that I talk to, whether they're actors or they're musicians. I hear it actually more, I think, from musicians than I do actors, is that how rough the music business actually is. And the word soul sucking has been thrown around a couple different times. that it's not easy to do anything in the music business, either as a solo endeavor or even with a band, because then there's some difficulties and everybody getting on the same page and wanting to go the same direction and all those things. So yeah, that's not really surprising me that you said that, but yeah,
I
all
do.
the same.
Someone who's been in both, I do think the music business is the hardest. It's just the hardest to make money in. It's the hardest to because there's no union, there's no rules, there's
Well, yeah.
no, you know, at least as an actor here in America, we have a rule. I mean, even Europe, there's like unions. Where
Hmm.
music, it's like anything goes.
Yeah, you have to have a good lawyer on your side to make sure that you're not getting the shaft in music.
Yes,
So
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay. All
Yeah, and
right.
even though if you do, like I did, I had some of the best, and I still, got knocked down and, got my dream came true, 6 album deal with Rob Cavallo. I had Irving Azoff, and for my manager, I had like those the top of the game, and I still, they fired my band and, didn't want to release my album. And, yeah, after that, I was like pretty,
Lovely.
pretty deflated. Yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if that's something you were looking so forward to. Like you said, it was the dream. It was, what most people who are in music would be ecstatic for, a 6 album deal. That's pretty massive.
Yeah, with Warner Brothers, right? I mean, this
Yeah.
dream come true. I mean, I had my band and we would tour around and we built our own following, but it was so hard to do on our own. So when Paul Anka found me, the old Paul Anka, who
Yeah.
wrote I Did in My Way, he took me under his wing and he went around to the bigger labels. And we ended up going with Rob Cavallo at Warner Brothers. And then when I decided to sign my life away because I was like tired of supporting the bands, booking the bands, handing out flyers, booking. I mean, I was doing
Sure.
everything myself and we were doing really great. We were like a machine, the bass player would do the merchandise, the guitar, this like, it was like a
Right.
machine. But I just got burned out. So when I got the opportunity, I was like, oh, dream came true. This is what you dream of, right? As a little starving artist handing out flyers on Sunset
Yeah.
Boulevard. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let me ask you this and kind of follow up in conjunction with that. Now, you've obviously, as an actor, as a musician, there are people who might influence the way that you do certain things. So let's talk about your musical influences first.
Yeah.
Who would you say were your musical influences for both your solo work and even the bands that you were a part of?
I mean, my biggest was, Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails changed my
Sure.
life.
Okay.
When,
Okay.
because when I heard it, because I used to box, I boxed for 6 years, and when I heard it for the first time, I was like, oh my God, he's speaking my, my, he's speaking my inner voice. He just put words on my thoughts and feelings.
Right.
And he had no tattoos. He was just kind of a normal looking guy, emo guy who colored his hair black, like me at the time. And I was like, oh my God, this is me. He's saying everything that I feel, but I can't articulate. And
Okay.
he just ripped my heart out. And then, but growing up, it was Linkin Park,
Oh,
Chester,
sure, sure.
who I later we crossed paths. We shared the same drummer. He had a solo album, and then he
Oh,
stole my
wow.
drum. Yeah, he had Dead by Sunrise. So he
Yeah.
was the first one to kind of, yeah, um,
He
the
was a
first one
drummer
that,
thief. All right.
yeah. But he's amazing. The whole band, they were very cool and they embraced new artists like myself, and they were just amazing to me. They're amazing. And
Yeah.
yeah, so the rock, but then again, my favorite album would be Farinelli, an old movie called Farinelli with a castrato. So I loved opera, I loved rock, I loved, I just like anything that rips my heart out.
That's fair. So, in the introduction, I talked about you being operatically trained.
Yes.
Do you find that being operatically trained helps you to be able to fluctuate in the notes, to be able to, because when I'm listening to you and your music, one of the things I appreciated about you was your range. It wasn't that you were, some singers, they have a good tone, but that's just kind of where they're at.
Mm.
This is where they sing. I did appreciate that you were able to hit some of the higher notes. You also have a nice low register. You've got a little bit of a little earthy growl to you when you need it, and I like that. Um,
Oh,
so
thank you.
so yeah, but so do you find that for you that being operatically trained helped you to be able to sing other genres of music?
Oh my God, yes. I think it's is my foundation. I mean, most singers on the road, they lose their voice, when you're out there
Mhm.
screaming, doing,
Right,
eight
yeah.
shows a week. But because I have trained operatic, I'm a trained singer like that, that my breathing technique is the most important thing. So I would never lose my voice, and I'm one of those that can go on and go on. And I'm one of those annoying singers that would be in the dressing room while people were doing warm up beers, and I'll be like doing my scales, warm up scales and my cool down scales, because that's how I was trained. So I was pretty
Sure.
annoying for my you know fellow musicians.
That's good
They would
for him.
just do shots, and I'm there like la 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 la. But no, it helped me because I can do I'm a lot more technical and flexible in that sense. But I think
Okay.
that the biggest gift is that I don't lose my voice and I know how to breathe. I learned how to
All right.
breathe.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's shift away from music for just a quick moment.
Yes.
I asked you about your influences about music, and now let's talk about acting. Who were your influences on acting? You said, "Boy, that might be fun. I might like to do what they're doing."
Oh wow. Uh, I mean, uh, the movie that changed my life I saw as a little girl in Denmark was the first movie I saw in the theaters was Thelma and Louise.
Oh
And
wow.
that was
Okay.
because they were in Copenhagen. And, the first thing I did was to buy a Thunderbird. And then also, I wanted what they had, the freedom. I wanted
Okay.
to, you know, I think that's what attracted me the most. And then later it was, like Angelina Jolie was one, of course, one of the
Sure.
ones that I was like, she's so cool. And she just got it going on. But truly, I always wanted to be like a Meryl Streep kind of an actress. But that's not
Good
what I get
choice.
cast as, you know. I get cast as the cooler, the more badass, the girls with an edge, the stronger, but I
Hmm.
always wanted to be more like a Meryl Streep, but that's just not my
Well,
my my calling.
Meryl Streep wasn't Meryl Streep until she became Meryl Streep, if you know what I mean. It took her time.
Yes, yes.
So,
I pray, like Kate Blanchett,
mhm.
I remember like 4 or 5 of her movies, and I was like, oh my God, it's the same woman. I didn't realize that, and that's what I always hoped that one of the reasons why I broke away from music was because I was in a box. When you do rock music, you play one character all the time. And in
Fair.
movies, what I like is that you can spread your wings. And I just feel like I have so much. I love classical pieces. I love anything in the 30s, 40s. I love the 1800s, from my classical background. And then I love anything futuristic, anything. Yeah, so I like actors who are diverse. They
Okay.
inspire, that can go there.
I like that. All right. Very cool. All right. So let's talk about your most recent movie,
Yes,
Deathstalker.
yes.
Now, it's kind of interesting because Roger Corman has such a rich history in the movie industry. And I can only assume how cool it must have been to know that you were working on a project that was originally Roger Corman's and it's been modernized. And now Deathstalker was originally released back in, I think it was 83,
Mm-hmm.
1983. But I was hoping that you could talk to us a little bit about your experience on the set of Deathstalker and what it means to be attached to a piece of Hollywood history through a project like this.
Well, it was an amazing experience because it already has a built-in fan base, and I think
Hmm.
the thing that I liked the most was the director that was attached, Stephen Kostansky, because he himself has his own following. He hasn't been around as long as the previous director. He's not there yet, but I just felt very confident that he would do his own version of it, and I knew it wouldn't be a Roger movie. It would be a Stephen Kostansky movie, his version, his translation
Right.
of the movie. So I came in very open, and when I read the script, I was like, wow. I mean, because when comparing to the original one, I thought the ladies would be in swimsuits and, certain kind of image. And
Yeah.
Steven
Yeah.
didn't, go there. He just went a complete different direction, which I thought was very brave and very exciting and, fun to play like a powerful character. Talk about Kate Blanchett, some of my favorite
Right.
movies that I keep rewatching. Every time I'm sick, I always watch Lord of the Rings. I don't know, it's something very healing about Lord of the Rings.
Beautiful
And there
choice.
and there is like that fantasy, certain character, like a character that Kate Blanchett got to play, and I was like, oh my god, you got your own little Kate Blanchett character that you got to play, this powerful, I don't know, mystical creature lives out in the forest that's the head of the thieves. So I felt like even though we were doing a remake, it was so original and so different that I had to almost treat it like its own entity. I
That makes
couldn't really
sense.
draw from Roger's movies because it was just such a different take. That's how I felt, and my character didn't
Okay.
exist in a Roger movie. It was
That was
a
going to be my next question.
yeah. She didn't exist. Yeah.
All right. So talk to me about your character then. Grendel, I believe, is the name and
Yes.
how it's
Yeah,
pronounced.
Grendel.
So yeah. So talk to me about Grendel and how this character fits into the movie when she was not there previously.
Well, that was the fun part, and that I got to create her from scratch. And then
Okay.
having done previous movies where I played existing characters, I always felt that I had this weight on my shoulder to live up. Like the movie that you were watching, yesterday, Hell Hath No Fury, was based on a true character, so I felt like I had to
Hmm.
carry. It's a lot like, Deathstalker. Daniel Bernhardt has to carry Deathstalker. There's certain things that he has to do. He
Right.
can't be 125 pounds. He has to.
No.
Like there's certain things expected from his character, where
Yeah.
from my
Yeah.
character, because he didn't exist, no one expected anything. I
Right.
mean, the director had some looks that was drawn and some wardrobe that was made, and he had, I think, a vision for her, pretty clear vision of what he wanted. But as far as the character, I got to play with creating a story her before that the director agreed to, where Deathstalker and Grendel actually had a thing going on. I don't know if anyone caught on to that. They actually had a thing going on, but because, Deathstalker is doing his own thing, he doesn't want to be a part of my union. He doesn't want to pay his union dues to me, and he just wants to be a lone wolf. Grendel and Deathstalker had to part, but he was the one that got away. I even say that. So when Steven does the prequel, then he can tell Grendel's story.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Because I always think it's interesting when movies are remade, rebooted, whatever you want
Yeah.
to call it, and there's an introduction of perhaps a different character, or there's an inclusion of a scene that wasn't in the original,
Mm.
that I think helps. I think sometimes that those could be a good thing because they help explain the story in a different way. It gives you a different. I think especially with a character like Grendel, it helps gives a different point of view on
Yes.
to Deathstalker and who he is and what he's doing and why he's doing it. I think there's a little bit more of a connection there.
Yeah, and I think what Steven got to do is like maybe add some layers to Deathstalker that wasn't there before. In the
Right.
original one, where now there's more layers, bringing in a character like Grendel and letting us play with him, having had a past, just touching on it, that
Hmm.
Deathstalker did have maybe somewhat of a more normal life before he became Deathstalker.
Yeah,
So it's,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So no, I love those remakes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like with the original Deathstalker movie, it was a bit campy. Roger Corman is
Yeah,
known for making a bit movies that are a bit campy.
yeah,
One of the things I liked about this version of Deathstalker, from what I was able to watch of it, is that it has a little bit of the camp feel,
yeah.
but it's not the over the top camp like the original was in some
Yes.
areas. I thought it paid homage to, or homage, or however you say that. Let's go with homage. It paid nice homage to the original version of the movie by including a little bit of the camp. Would you agree with that?
100%. I mean, also all his practical special effects, I mean,
Hmm.
and I thought he did a beautiful, actually very delicate. Now that I've, worked on it, seen it a bunch of times, I could really tell how he like have woven the original, all the important things in there to honor Roger's original script. And all, I mean, and then at the same time, I thought what Daniel did was that was so great. He made him a lot more grounded. He
Hmm.
was still Deathstalker and came out there, but it wasn't as cheesy.
Yep. There you go. No, that's fine because that's honestly how I looked at it too. So, and there's nothing wrong with being a little cheesy. I love
No, there's
cheesy
nothing
movies.
wrong.
There's a great fun to be had with campy movies.
Oh, I know, but he kept
So
that. He There was a little bit in there still.
oh,
He
for
he
sure,
honored
yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah. And I think it's important when you're doing movies like this,
yeah,
where the original movie has camp in it, that you have to have some level of that campiness to give honor to the way that it was done
yes.
originally in the original version. Like if for me, if anyone was ever to redo the Flash Gordon movie,
Mm,
it's, I love that movie. It's campy as can be.
yeah,
And if they redo it, by golly, it better be campy too, because I
yeah,
just don't think it'll be any fun if it wasn't. So,
yeah. No, I hear
but
you. I hear you.
so
Yeah.
okay. All right. So over the years, Nina, you've had some opportunities to play some really cool, interesting roles. Like you said, you got to play the badass quite a bit. But let's play a game of what if, and
Okay.
we'll throw something out into the universe, see what we can stick to the universal wall.
All
So
right.
what universe would you love to land a role in, and why? Why does that excite you or interest you the most?
Oh, wow. I can only pick one.
You can pick multiples if there's multiples. Like, I could tell
Let's
you right now
see.
that I would love to be able to sit down and if anything Star Wars related is as long as my name's in the credits somewhere, I don't care if they make me end of the bench and guard the water bottle. I
Yeah.
will be happy to be guard of the water bottle as long as my name's in the credits on a Star Wars movie. I'd be beside myself happy.
So you've excited. Well, I started, I don't know if you know that, but my first like hands-on comic book experience was with Wonder Woman. I did
Oh,
a
okay,
Jesse Johnson fan movie that exploded before Wonder Woman. Jesse Johnson, who did Hell Hath No Fury, that you watched
okay,
or started watching, came to me and he was like, when I first came, and he was like, "Do you want to be my Wonder Woman? I want to do a fan kind of trailer movie, and then see maybe we can pitch it to, at that time they weren't even talking about Wonder Woman. You got to check it out." So at that time, my favorite movie was Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, and those kind of
oh yeah,
darker, yeah, yeah, his
yeah,
Swedish version,
hmm,
those darker. And I was like, so we made her very real and dark. And I remember like we released it and it hit like 1 million views instantly on YouTube. It was like an overnight.
oh
It was
wow,
like one of overnighters, and it got a lot of attention. And then shortly after, they started on the actual Wonder Woman. So I got to live in her shoes just for a little bit, but the way the universe that we created was very different than, the one that ended up doing with Gal Gadot, which was a little more, talk about campy, compared to what
yeah,
we originally, we try to keep it more real and authentic, Jesse Johnson style, a little more, you know, like she was a real human being who then, became Wonder Woman kind of a thing,
right,
So I
yeah.
got to live I mean, I spent days, hours in comic books on the floor reading and reading and reading. And that was like the first time I really got introduced to comic books because I grew up with three older brothers. They're obsessed with comic books, and I never wanted to have anything to do with comic books because that was like what my three older brothers did.
Oh,
So I
sure,
was,
yeah.
yeah, so that was never. my thing. And then I found a character a while back called Hack Slasher.
Okay.
I don't know if you know about her. That I
I
was
do
obsessed.
not.
Okay. Very, 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 very cool comic book character. Yeah. That I wanted to play. Um, and then, uh, and then, one of my dream was to play, a video game character. I got to play her, Battery in Call of Duty. I got
Hmm.
to feel what it feels like to be Battery. And then what else? I mean, there's just so many, right? I mean, what universe? I mean, Jesus. I don't know. I don't know. I get hit up all the time by fans, and they're like, "Oh, you should play Tekken. You should play," like my fans have a lot of opinions about who they think I should play, especially at Comic
Okay.
Cons too. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about playing this? Have you ever thought about playing? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. Well, see, hey, maybe you never know. You throw it out in the universe, you never know what's going to
Yeah, you
stick. It
you never
might.
know. I'm open. The reason why I like those kind of characters is because of the backstories. I like any character with big backstory,
Yeah.
and a lot of those comic books, they're so rich,
Hmm.
they're the characters. So it's like it's so much fun for us actors because it's not just a script, it's like
Right.
books.
Right.
It's
Especially when you
like
got
heaven.
decades. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
decades of material to draw off of.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So here's another question for you because I love it when multifaceted people visit the show because I feel it's very representative of who we are as a person, right? Because we're
Mm,
rarely ever just that one thing.
yeah.
Very rarely do I get somebody on here who's only an actor. That's all they can do. That's I'm only a singer or I'm
Yeah.
only a writer. Usually, there's something else that people do secondarily. Now, clearly, you enjoy what you do, but
Yes.
which one do you feel if you had to pick your favorite child? Is there one that scratches the artistic itch more, or just it differently, better, perhaps differently than one of the others does? Like, I prefer singing because of this, or I prefer acting because of this. Do you ever have that thought, or is that a foreign
No,
concept?
I think I have a little bit of FOMO. When I act, I miss singing. When I sing, I miss.
Fair. I was going to actually ask that next if that was the case because I've
Because
actually.
when the truth is, I love singing, right? But you do a show. How long is a show? And the rest of the time, you're on an airplane or you're on a tour bus. And
Right.
I love creating and writing my songs, but being in the studio for months upon months is not my favorite. you know
Okay.
so it's like, and the same as an actor. So you book the movie, you finally get your dream part, and what do? You sit in your trailer and you wait, and then you
Right.
wait, and then you spend months and months booking the next one, and then you finally get it, and then you sit in your trailer, and then you go, oh, I could be on tour right now, and then you're on tour, and then you're sitting on the tour bus, or you're like flying, or you're sitting in an airport and the flight is canceled for a third time, and so it's like it's like I love and then also it's like it depends on what part, you know. Some
Sure.
movies
Yeah.
it, some movies become a job, you know. Some shows and certain setups become a job singing. I've been hired
I believe
on
that.
gigs for singing where it was just a job at the end of the day. Some movies it becomes a job because I just they don't want my creativity. They just want me to hit my mark
Right.
and say my lines. So it's like you just can't, I just can't. Like if I
I
got
get
to
it.
do, yeah, it's
No, that makes sense to me. I've in talking with other people I've interviewed, that's who are multifaceted as well.
yeah.
That's been a similar
Oh,
response.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, is that I'll say, hey, if trying to get you to pick a favorite here, um, is not something I typically like to ask anyway. But when I'm talking to somebody who has multi modes of career, like
Yeah.
you do, and where there's different artistic releases, I've heard it said a couple different times where it's just like, well, I like this when I'm doing this, but then pretty much what you said, but then I'm looking over there going, well, I could be doing that too.
Yeah.
And now I want to go do that, and then I go over and do that, and then I'm like, but I was doing that, and I was really having
Yes.
fun with that. So
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit of back and forth. So okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, my next question kind of goes along with my first question, where I'm and a lot of what the things I ask are because I like I said in the beginning, I like to know what makes people tick and why they do what they
Yeah.
do. And my next question is more based upon who you are now and what you're doing now. So I like to call this question suggestion time. So,
Okay.
Nina, what are you reading or listening to that you think everybody else should know about?
Ooh. Ooh. Well, I have such an eclectic. Like, let me just see my playlist. I have. I checked out this song. I'm just gonna find it right now for you because I like. What is it called? This kind of music. I just was. What is this kind of music called? I don't even know what it's called. It's like a certain kind of very dark electronic music that put you in the mode. And I'm just
Okay.
gonna give a shout out to them, and they're called Lost Highway. And it's
That
like,
sounds familiar.
yeah, they do like music for, like movies, but it's this kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. I grew up too with Depeche Mode, with that kind of dark electronic. Even
Hmm.
Garbage has some of that stuff. Anything
Yeah.
dark electronic stuff, like what's some other movies that use that kind of like 80s electronic synth wave.
Okay.
It's called
Oh,
synth
okay.
wave.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
I'm like really into synth wave right now. Yeah, I'm just really because it's
Okay.
like it's like kind of driving and it's dark. Sometimes when I listen to too happy music, it kind of makes me has the opposite effect. I'm just like, ugh, so happy.
Yeah. After, I was thinking about that the other day. Somebody was, where was I? I was at the store. That's what it was. I was walking through the grocery store, and over the speakers, they were playing the old Katrina and the Waves song, Walking on Sunshine.
Uh-huh.
And after a couple minutes, I'm like, oh, would you shut up? Nobody's walking on sunshine.
Yeah, that's how I feel. It's just, I create when I'm happy, I live. When I am in pain or down or just melancholic or lonely or whatever, that's when I create the most.
Okay.
I think I don't know how to create from a happy place.
That's
I'm
fair.
too busy living.
Well, you're off enjoying and living. So yeah,
Yeah.
that that
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Yeah. So a lot of the art that I like is slightly darker.
Okay. All right. All
Yeah.
right. So Lost Highway synthwave music. All
Yeah,
right. Very
synthwave. I
cool.
just heard that song. I just jotted it down. I was like, "Ooh, it feels like a soundtrack to I don't know what." It's like it just puts you instantly in that mood, like a synthwave. Yeah, it's like you're coasting. It's not musically, it's not I don't want to say, I mean, it's not. It's brilliant that it's so simple, but it's very simple.
No, I
I
get
could
you.
play it. I could play it. I could sing it.
There you go. For me, recently, one of the things I've been listening to a lot, actually, is the Tron Ares soundtrack, which is done by, of
Yes.
course, Nine Inch Nails, which is just
Yes. Yes.
gorgeous.
Yeah, so
And
maybe it's up there. I actually haven't listened to that soundtrack yet.
it's gorgeous.
Yes.
It's oof. Actually, when I went to see the movie at the theater, I looked at my wife and I'm like, we're getting this on vinyl, just so you know.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah.
There's a couple songs in that movie where, yeah, they're just cool to play in the background and have it's because there's only a couple songs. A lot of it is just the background music, and then
Yeah.
there's a couple songs that were, actually have lyrics and things, and
Yeah.
so it's a very cool soundtrack album. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
worth
I
checking
gotta
out.
I gotta check it out because I can't have regular music playing in the background because I'm a singer and I write melodies, so I can't
Hmm.
focus if there's like a real song playing. I'm just listening to the chord
Sure,
progression. I don't know. I
I
can't
get that.
focus. Yeah, I need
I
something
get
that's
that.
a little more monotone, When if
Mm-hmm.
there is melody, it has to be like very simple. Otherwise, I'm like, oh wow, oh okay, cool. Oh yeah, I see they took the bridge there. I analyze it. Can't like even if I go out for dinner, I'm just sitting there and I'm just lost in the song. Happens all the
I get
time.
it. I get it. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Nina, we have made our way to the point where I need to ask you a silly question.
Okay.
All right. So, for those of you who are playing the home version of the FSF podcast, you've no doubt heard this question before. But this question began because of a FSF team member, Kathleen, was out with her daughter. And somebody asked her daughter this question, but not Kathleen. And Kathleen was like, well, that's a bit rude, don't you think? You should never age out of this question. So, that question is, Nina Bergman, what's your favorite dinosaur?
I don't have any.
You don't have any. Oh, wow. Okay.
No, because I grew up in Denmark and I don't know any of the American names for dinosaurs.
Okay.
I
That's
don't
fair.
I don't know what they're called. They didn't teach you that at NYU in the
I
theater
would
program.
I would assume not. No. I'm sorry. You cannot graduate if you do not know who this is. Yeah.
They didn't teach us that at NYU. I mean, I
Okay.
don't know why I paid that much money. I don't even know the down dinosaurs.
Well, I don't think it was imperative to your future work potential if you
Well,
knew.
apparently it is. I can't even answer because.
Well, we'll have to contact the theater department at
Yeah,
NYU and
Tish,
tell
yeah,
them,
please do and have a chat. They need to put
yeah,
that.
and be like, hey, there's a possibility that the actors that are coming through your class
Yes.
may be asked what their favorite dinosaur is, and you should probably have at least a semester on that.
What about if I have to play a dinosaur?
Rawr. I don't know.
I won't even know. Yeah, so it's like I'm not equipped.
That's okay. Hey, if nothing else, Nina, this is an original answer because you're the first one to say I don't have a favorite.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even if I was going to tell you which one I liked in Danish, I mean, how can you pick?
I have a favorite, but
Really? What's your favorite?
so my favorite is the Triceratops.
Okay.
The Triceratops is the one with the three horns on. It's got like the big shell
Yeah.
around its head, and it's got the three
Yeah.
horns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the reason for that, growing up when I was a kid, and it's still to this day, I think rhinos are just ridiculously super cool animals. And rhinos had that big horn off the front,
Yeah.
and some of them had two horns off the front. And I always was like, when I saw Triceratops, I was like, cool, a triple rhino. And so, yeah, so it just kind of became my favorite.
Well, that makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
So
Maybe I should start learning the names, but they're not easy to learn, I mean, why do you have to have
no.
such complicated names for dinosaurs?
Well, I mean, they tried calling them Bob, Phil, and Joe, but they just didn't go over very well.
Yeah, that didn't fly. No, because they were underestimating people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, I have
All
some
right,
homework
Nina.
to do.
A little bit, but it's okay. I wouldn't worry about diving into it too deeply unless you had to figure out something for a future project,
I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, Tim, guess what I'm playing?"
I would be happy to be your dinosaur Sherpa. So,
Okay,
just
thank you.
there you go.
Thank you.
All right, Nina, thank you so much for being on the FSF podcast today. Where could our listeners and viewers go to find out more about you, your work, and whatever you got coming up?
Well, you can go to my website, ninabergman.com. Everything is there. And
Okay.
I was just telling you before we jumped on here, I just found out today that I am a TED Talk speaker. It got released.
Woo-hoo.
I did a TED Talk called Vegan Machine. And it's about my other passion, veganism, not hurting dinosaurs, any animals, right?
Right.
And it's all on my website. So I have that and a program of how to become vegan too. That's called Fierce and Vegan that's being released too simultaneously with my TED Talk. But I am now an official TED Talk speaker.
Wow. That's
Yes.
pretty amazing. That's cool stuff.
Yes.
Hey, not everybody gets to do those. So yeah, absolutely.
Not, yeah, not everything. Yeah. And then of course lots more stuff is on my everything is on my website. So
okay.
yeah, it's all right there. And then I'm most active on Instagram, which is my name as well. Nina Bergman.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where, yeah, I'm the most
Okay.
active.
I'll make sure to put a link for your website and also your user handle for Instagram on the show notes down below, so everybody
Thank
can
you.
check that out and give Nina a follow. Now,
Yes.
hey guys, if you haven't already, this might be the prime time to remind you that following our show on YouTube is the most important free thing that you can do today. It cost you 0 George Washingtons to make this happen. So, and following our show ensures that we get more amazing dinosaur-free guests like Nina Bergman here today to have funny moments for you guys to be able to listen to and hear all these cool stories that Nina has and our future guests will have as well. So please consider following our show. It helps out well more than I could ever really tell you. And be sure to go check out Nina's work as well, because I'm sure she's got some stuff coming up that she can't quite talk about yet. And she's got really cool strobe light effects when she throws up the devil horns. Rock on. So, yeah, go check out Nina as well. So, on behalf of Nina Bergman, thank you for watching and or listening to the show. And may the force be with you as you continue to live long and prosper. Goodbye.
Copyright 2026 FSF Podcast. Reference to any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF Podcast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpodcast.com.